Okay, good to see everybody. First things first, PJB is making me say this. It's his birthday today, so make sure you wish PJB a happy birthday. I didn't want to say that. He made me do that. We'll have a few guys out today. Normal, that was the plan, just with some rehab schedules, if you will. Higgins won't practice today, rolled an ankle, should be fine. Tony Fields, you know about. With that, I'll take any questions.
What about Greedy Williams?
Good. Yeah, good to go.
So did he roll an ankle yesterday, or was it earlier in the week? And you're just
yesterday,
okay.
But he'll be fine.
Okay, with Baker, things like processing, meetings here, just in and out of the huddle.
Mm-hmm.
Would you expect him to be a lot better and more comfortable, and do you see that?
From last year?
Yes.
Oh, without a doubt. And I know you talk about Baker in that regard, but that's everyone who's coming back and has been in our systems on offense and defense. Talked to Denzel playing corner in year 2. For sure, you take that step from year 1 to year 2 in a system, and it manifests itself, like you mentioned, in the meeting room. Just understand what you're doing, getting out here, breaking the huddle, going through reads. It can really come in a bunch of different areas.
When we see you out there in a 7-on-7, are all those plays pre-scripted, or do you call things on the fly?
Oh, it's all scripted. Yeah.
Has Baker taken on more in this offense from a leadership standpoint, or I guess a coaching standpoint, for lack of a better word?
I don't think so, Dan. I think he's the leader of the football team, and he does a great job of that. So that's always going to be part of his gig as the quarterback. But in terms specific to the offense, he's got great input. He and AVP, share a lot of ideas, myself included. So that's always going to take place. But I wouldn't say that the leadership in the offense is any different.
How long did it take you last year to figure out who he probably was, and how well do you think you know him now?
Again, I know there are questions about Baker, but it's hard for me to single him out. I think going back to last year, which was ages ago, we all had to get to know each other, every single position. So that's our job as coaches, to understand our players. So specific to Baker, of course, over the course of time, we certainly learn more about him. But I hope that we're doing that with all of our players.
Kevin, there was a period in the first half of the season where Baker was averaging no more than 10 pass attempts in the second half of games. Was that a difficult sell to him to control his role in those games?
Tony, I can't think specifically to what those games are, but I would assume we were winning in those games. So I think you're going to throw the ball a little bit less when you're winning.
But there was a big difference the second half of the season after the bye, even when you were winning.
Yeah, I wouldn't read too much into it.
Was it just getting to know him and him getting to know the system?
Honestly, I'd have to go back to look at specific games, but each game kind of calls for its own rhythm, if you will. So that's kind of what we'll continue to do. It's no secret we're trying to get the lead in these games. I think everybody is, but we'll try and be explosive in any way we can.
Baker said earlier in the offseason he was talking to you and Alex Van Pelt, and I don't know, one or both of you joked about, hey, you better come in even better shape this training camp than last year. And he's laughing about how that was a high bar. Have you noticed that this year?
Yeah, that was me. I told him that he screwed up and how good a shape he came in last year. No, he did. He did a great job. And that's Baker, like a lot of his teammates, you ask him to do something, he does it. So he's very coachable.
Kevin, you talked a lot about how, another Baker thing, but how you guys became more comfortable with him at the bye week, and that was something that led to more success afterward. But besides just the comfort level, were there areas on the field where you saw him make a big stride from the first half to the second half last season?
The answer is yes. I'm trying to think of a specific. I know he took real good care of football, and that's always going to be a point of emphasis for our offense in general, taking care of that thing, because we put such an emphasis on the turnover margin. But that'd be one thing that comes to mind, Scott.
And he said earlier that he thinks he can play so much better than he did a year ago. I mean, do you see all that potential in him that he can just keep making steps?
Yeah, I would hope. Again, I know he's a quarterback, and we want to talk about him, but I hope everybody's taking a big step, myself included. We all have to get better, and we've outlined areas that we need to get better, and we've outlined the ways that we're going to do that.
Kevin, what is going to be the challenge for you, incorporating Odell back into the scheme without disrupting the way you guys played so well down the stretch last season without him?
Yeah, I don't look at it that way, Jake. I kind of look at, he's when he's healthy and he's part of this thing, he's a dynamic football player. He's going to be very much front of mind as we put our game plans together and those type of things. I just look back at how much better we got offensively, just us coaching. I thought we did a better job in the second half of the year explaining things, the nuance, if you will, to our offense, and that's, I think, where you saw some of that growth. So that's where you insert Odell into some of that. I think he can be, a real productive player for us.
What does he do for the ceiling of your offense? When you go back to that Kansas City game, it's like you guys just got up one more play offensively, and you had a chance to win. He's a guy that can make that type of play. So in terms of how much better you can get offensively from where you ended last year, what can he do for you?
Yeah, I'm excited for Odell coming off of this injury. I mean, he's worked really, really hard, and I think seeing him in person and seeing him work and getting around his teammates, we're excited to get him back out here. Like I mentioned before, we're going to make sure that we listen to the doctors in that regard as to how and when he is back fully. But he's doing a great job, and like anything, he's a good football player. We're excited to get him back.
You mentioned everyone wants to score first. I just read today that over a 10-year period, teams that score first win 65% of the time.
Okay.
How does that go against your decision to defer so often? And would you rethink that in your second half?
I think that decision, Tony, I think you do take a lot into account when making those decisions in the course of who your opponent is, weather related, all those type of things. But whether you get the ball, whether you receive first or kick, you could still stop them on defense and then score first. So it's not like whoever touches the ball first is 65%. It's the team that scores first. So we'll take it into account as we look at these games and get ready.
Kevin, we talked to JC, and he's not a fan of the wristband policy some teams are using. Did you arrive at the decision not to use those wristbands just on your own, or did you talk to JC about it?
Yeah, that was organizationally. We decided to just really, it's on our lanyards, when you're in the building. As you know, we're not dividing the team over this issue. And I've been pretty clear with the team. I think you guys know how I feel about it.
Was that something you consulted JC with as you were mulling options, or just organizational?
Yeah.
John Johnson said that Anthony Walker was going to be the guy calling plays on defense. What is it about Anthony that you like in that role?
Well, I think it's Anthony. It's our linebackers. I know John has done it in his past. I think ultimately who calls it is the coach's kind of decisions on what makes the most sense. But Anthony, as a Mike linebacker, you've heard it said he gets everybody lined up, and you have to be vocal. You got to know what you're talking about. You got to be both loud and demonstrative in how you do it, but you better know what you're saying as well. So think back to Jacob Phillips doing it last year, which was a big deal for a young football player to have that much of an understanding of our scheme to do that. So Anthony fits that bill as well.
We saw Donovan Peoples-Jones make a nice catch at the end of practice yesterday. What have you seen from his growth and where he can fit in with this group this year?
Yeah, Donovan did a nice job for us last year as a rookie. I think you saw his role grow throughout the course of the season. Very intelligent football player, and we knew that from the jump with him. He could line up everywhere, do his job. So we're looking forward to seeing what he can do, and as he grows, gets more comfortable in what we're doing.
Kevin, Matt Wilson was with the ones at minicamp. Started out listening to the ones. Is he a different player than what you remember from last year?
Yeah, I mean, I think Mac's in a great place. I think he's working really, really hard. I thought he had a great offseason, both physically, mentally, what he did within the scheme. I thought he really did a nice job. So he's out here, and I think we can't look too much into who's running with the ones. This is a competition. We're all competing. Now we're going to start in one place, but then everybody's fighting for those jobs every single day. So, but in particular, Mac's doing a nice job.
And Kevin, just about John Johnson again, what has he done to kind of just establish himself as an early leader in a defense as this first-year player, and how would you assess his fit in the defense?
Yeah, I think the fit is certainly there. As you guys all know from watching the tape, he can play multiple positions. He can play multiple coverages, can be in the post, can be down around the line of scrimmage. And I think from a leadership standpoint, it's a work in progress because really we're around each other for not a long time in the spring. We just got together here, so it's about getting to know your teammates and them getting to know you, and then those leadership qualities will start to come out.
For us,
it's so much nicer to watch you guys coach react without the masks out there. Is it the same for you guys?
You know, it's funny, Zach. I was watching some tape of last year's training camp, and it was jarring. Everybody's in a mask. I mean, we didn't huddle for the first, I think, 10 days or so. So we had a split squad going on. So I'm glad that those days are in our past.
Hey, Coach, I'm guessing you watched tape from yesterday's practice.
Yes.
Any one moment or situation that made you the most happy? You practiced a smile, you had to call a coach in to watch it again.
I'll tell you this. I think it's exciting to have the guys around each other.
Yeah.
It's day one. It's day one install. The defense is playing 3 deep, you know, so it's not very hard. We didn't have a blitz drill, didn't have full speed team drills, so it's really very early in camp. But I just think for us as coaches to see our guys around each other, be with them in the meeting room, out here on the practice fields, making corrections, I think that's the fun part for us is just seeing the players really want to be coached and then take that coaching and put it on the grass.
Of course, we're happy you got here too, so thank you.
Okay.
Coach, what's going on with Willie's and what are you getting back for?
Yeah, he's on a rehab plan. He had off-season surgery, minor. I guess no surgery is minor, but he's doing fine, and he's just part of the rehab plan.
Can you say what his surgery was?
A knee.
Okay, and we ask you about Odell all the time, but Hubbard, him coming back was a little newsworthy, being able to practice yesterday. So what did that mean to you to see him work his way back to the starting point?
Yeah, well, we brought him in with the rookies and the quarterbacks as well, so Hub got a head start with those guys, and you know he's working real hard, worked exceptionally hard with the trainers this summer, and he's putting himself in really good position, and happy to see him out there.
I went back and looked at the reports. This was more than just a simple ACL, right? Multiple ligaments and a kneecap dislocation, right? So that's pretty difficult injury to be back so soon.
Yeah. I think you guys know this. Hub's a great person, works his butt off, great teammate, so we're all thrilled to see him back out here.